Down a little bit, OJ. Book of John, chapter 2. Book of John, chapter 2. Book of John, chapter 2. We're going to start at verse 1. And when you got it, say, I got it. Some of y'all like, I got it because it's going to be on the screen. Amen. Reads like this. On the third day, a wedding took place at Cana in Galilee. Jesus' mother was there, and Jesus and his disciples had also been invited to the wedding. When the wine was gone, somebody say the wine was gone. Some of y'all excited already. You be like, this is my passage. This is me. We're going to pray your spirit right here. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to them, they have no more wine. Jesus responded, woman, why do you involve me? Now let me pause right there because I know some of y'all clicked into your cultural context and you said Jesus is a G because he just responded to his mother as woman. In biblical context, the word woman was not a term of disrespect, but a term of distance. Everybody say distance. So it wasn't intended to tell her, you can't talk to me like that. He wasn't trying to be disrespectful or rude. Like if you try that now, I don't want any of our teenagers in the room to think they're going to call their mama woman when they leave. Just don't do it and be like, Jesus did it. Don't do it, okay? It's different times, all right? But it was a distancing. He was saying, hey, this is not my issue. I'm creating distance. Woman, why do you involve me? Jesus replied, my hour has not yet come. His mother said to the servants, do whatever he tells you. Nearby stood 6 stone water jars, the kind used by the Jews for ceremonial washing, each holding from 20 to 30 gallons. Jesus said to the servants, fill the jars with water. So they filled them to the brim. Then he told them, now draw some out and take it to the master of the banquet. And they did so. And the master of the banquet tasted the water that had been turned to wine. He did not realize where it had come from, though the servants who had drawn the water knew. Then he called the bridegroom aside and said, everyone brings out the choice wine first, and the cheaper wine after the guests have had too much to drink. But you have saved the best, everybody say the best, till now. What Jesus did here in Cana of Galilee was the first of the signs through which he revealed his glory. And his disciples believed in him, revealed his glory. I want to preach today from this topic, fill it up. Look at your neighbor one time. Just say, fill it up. Say it one more time. Make them wake up real good. Say, fill it up. Now, as a subtitle to today's sermon, appropriately noted, a mother's miracle. A mother's miracle. A mother's miracle. Many of us are miracles to our mothers. Let's not be deep about this for a moment. Let's just be practical. Like, if our mothers were honest with us, they didn't know we was going to make it through school. It was a couple times we called them in college, and they just said, baby, I just don't know. We just going to have to figure it out together. Some of us, our graduation was a miracle. Let's just be honest, We don't know how the Lord did it. We don't know what grades got mixed up. We don't know. The teacher, the curve was designed for our grade. We made it on a miracle. Can I get anybody to say I made it on a miracle? Some of us are doing some things in our lives that if our parents be honest, they didn't know we were capable. They maybe say, okay, they got potential, but they didn't know we'd be doing it to the level that we'd be doing. We're just a living miracle. Some of us is a little deeper than that. Some of us, if you look at our past, miracle, the trouble that we got into, or the medical issues that we faced, or the background that we came from, the miracle that we made it out of the neighborhood. It's a miracle that we made it out of the sickness. It's a miracle that we made it out of the ordeal. We just don't know what happened. It's just a miracle that we made it. We are a mother's miracle. I hear all the time mothers tell me that there's nothing more precious, there's nothing more valuable to them than seeing the success of their children and seeing the fruitfulness of their child. They invest their lives and their heart and their patience and their time to see us become their miracles. And as I look at this passage, I love the fact that we see Mary and Jesus in the moment of a miracle. Anybody ever, like we have a church full of millennials, and we have people in different age groups, but this probably is particularly for the millennials. Anybody just recently graduated from the kid table to the adult table? Right, few of us, right? Like, you know, your parents, you were like 22 years old, and they still were trying to tell you to sit in the other room. Right. My grandmother's here. I'm not going to point her out. Hey, grandma right there. All white, hallelujah. I remember even times when I would come up to get something to drink, and she would fill up my cup, and I felt like it was kid portion. But I was a grown adult, you know. That's all you need right now. Come back when you drink that. I'd be like, yo, fill my cup up. I'm grown. Got kids on the way. Stop playing. Many of us know what it's like to be shortchanged. It may not be a grandparent, it may be a friend, it may be somebody else, but they give you a little. And here it is. I love the fact that whenever we come to God, we should always come with the expectation of a fill up. We should always come with the expectation of not just some, but all. We should always come with the expectation that He doesn't just give you what you need, He gives you exceedingly and abundantly above all you could ask or think. And what I love about this passage, if I can just skip to the good part at the end, Jesus doesn't just give them something, He says, fill it to the brim. He says, hey, look, I know what you need, but I'm going to give you even more than what you need. He says, fill it to the brim. And it's important that from a discipleship perspective, we understand that Jesus is operating now in His full divinity. He's operating, balancing rather, His humanity and His divinity, but we get to see the glimpses now for the first time of His divinity, the true Son of God operating in His glory. And I love this, guys, because it challenges all of us to recognize what the glory is all about. And we're going to talk in this sermon, I'm just going to give you a heads up, about what the glory's intent was really for. But before we get there, let's just talk about this dilemma that we have in modern and American church, to focus on the minor and not the major of the text. Because some of us, when we read this passage, we focus so much on the wine that we miss the greater miracle. We talk so much about the wine and what He did with it and how it flowed and was He supposed to be drinking it and what was the party for and were they really drunk and was it just some good grape juice? I mean, we have a lot of conversations about the wine, but I think we miss the major miracle. We miss the major essence of the text if we only focus on an argument that really has different cultural context. Then I could preach a whole sermon about the wine, and we could talk about that. I know some of y'all going to come up to me afterwards and be like, you should have stayed right there, Pastor, because I've been talking to my people about that. But what I really want to talk about today is what the cultural context was for this day and time. What was the point of this conversation? What is the magnitude of what's happening right now? One of the things you have to understand is that what's going on is Jesus is having this conversation with His mother. His mother comes to Him and says, hey, the problem is they have no more wine. Now, you got to understand, in Jewish tradition, can I give you the backdrop? In Jewish tradition, a wedding wasn't just one day. It was usually about 7 days long. And in biblical Jewish tradition, the wedding would last, and on a Wednesday, the groom would show up with his boys, and they would show up to the bride's house, and then the father would release her out of the house, and she would be dressed up, looking cute, and then they would leave, and then they would process with the groomsmen and the bridesmaids from the groom's house all the way to the bride's house, with an arrival generally on a Thursday. And then on Thursday, the celebration part started, and they started dancing, and they started enjoying themselves. But it was a 7-day journey. Anybody want a 7-day wedding? One clap. The people who've been married before are like, the devil is a lie. I couldn't get through one day. 7 days. Not only was it a 7-day process, not only did they have to do all this marching and walking, but one of the other things that you have to understand is that the groom was responsible for the wine for the duration of the celebration. And if a groom did not fulfill his part of the contractual agreement with the bride's father to make sure that he was a good steward, to make sure that the wine was available for the entire week, if he didn't do that, he could be taken to court and sued for a breach of contract. Oh, my Lord. Isn't it amazing? And now, some of y'all like, so let me get this straight. I pay my money. It run out, and you going to sue me? What about budget? What about? Some of y'all don't even let people come to your house and dictate what they're going to drink. We got water and juice. Well, I need, but you need to stop by the store before you show up. Because what's available here, what's on the menu here, is water and juice. And we got certain stuff, but not that juice, though. I drink out that juice straight out the bottle. You don't want to touch that juice right there. That's my workout juice. Woo, boy, I tell you. We are very, American context, we pretty much wouldn't understand this. We pay for weddings. We pay for what's available. What's available is what's available. When it runs out, it's gone. But in biblical context, this groom would have been sued. Would have been a litigation over not having enough wine. So when Jesus' mother comes to him, see, you got to think about it outside of an American context. She's not saying, oh, just, they're out of wine. Like the question would be for us, what's the big deal? Like, okay, they're out of it. So what? But you got to understand this is a bigger situation in this day and time. This groom is in trouble. Look at somebody say the groom is in trouble. Groom is in trouble. He's facing this potential lawsuit because he does not have enough wine to make it through the rest of the celebration. And so Jesus' mother comes to him and says, Jesus, I need you to do something. And I love Jesus' response. He says, woman, ma'am, mommy, I can't do it. It's not my time yet. It's not my problem. It's not my problem. It's not my wedding. I'm just here to have a good time. And I love Jesus' mother response. Y'all got to see this. It's in the text. Can you go to the text real quick? Go back to it real quick. I love this part. Look at your neighbor and say, he loves this part. He loves this part. It's found in verse 3. Go to verse 3. When the wine was gone, Jesus' mother said to him, they have no more wine. He said, woman, why do you involve me? My hour has not yet come. Look at the very next thing that happened. His mother said to the servants, do what the boy tell you to do. Y'all saw what I saw? His mama was like, look, boy, let me tell you something, okay? I know you was divinely implanted in me, but I still birthed you. Don't get it twisted. It still hurt. Don't play. Get this wine. It's amazing. Now, you have to understand, again, the context of the conversation. Jesus' mother isn't telling him what to do, but she's acknowledging that I know you can do something. And I think it's important that we acknowledge on this Mother's Day that sometimes the beauty of a mother is that she pulls stuff out of you even when you don't feel like you're ready yet. And she pulls stuff out of you even when you feel like it's not your time yet. And she's confident in you when you're not confident in yourself. And she celebrates you even when nobody else is clapping. And she stands up even when everybody else is sitting. She says, hey, I know what's in you. I know your potential. I see something beyond the surface. I see something beyond what everybody else has been privy to yet. I know my child. Now, this is important because Jesus hasn't done any miracles yet. So she has confidence in what he's capable of, but not what he's done yet. This is his first miracle. What is she so confident in? The essence of who her son is. She said, I know you, to a mother's miracle, known with you. And she is the catalyst to a mother's miracle. Now, it also suggests to us, because this would have been extremely embarrassing for the groom, for people to find out, that Mary must have had a close connection with the bride and groom. She must have known the groom personally. They must have been relatives or something for her to become aware of this information. Even they didn't know who could fix it. They probably talked to the family and said, hey, guys, we are in a situation. And Mary said, I just imagine, if I use my theological imagination, I just imagine, Stu, that they were standing there and the family was gathered and the groom was like, hey, look, y'all, I spent all the money I had on this day. I need some help. And I just imagine Mary was a part of this conversation, Crystal, and I just imagine she was like, don't worry about it. I got it. Jesus, baby boy, you remember that 12 hours of labor? Come on here. In the hay, the manger, I need some wine. I need you to do something. I need you to be who I know you have the potential to be. I need you to act on my behalf. She becomes the catalyst to the first miracle of Jesus. She doesn't tell him what to do. Watch this. but she knows he can do something. Can I suggest today that one of the greatest challenges of us experiencing God's provision in our lives and God's glory in our lives and God's resources in our lives is that we spend more time telling him what to do, but not just saying, God, do something. We spend more time in our prayer time saying, God, do this, and not God, do you. We spend more time in our prayer time saying, God, do what I need, not God, what you desire. And what we do is we essentially put God in a box because we say, hey, Mary had never seen Jesus do a miracle. She could have requested something that was lesser than his ability. But instead she says, Jesus, do you. I don't know what you're going to do. I'm not going to tell you what to do because I know as you operate in your divinity, your ways are not my ways. Your thoughts are not my thoughts. You're greater than me. I know that, but I know you can do something. Save the day. And Jesus responds to Mary through activity. Now, I love this because it reminds us that Jesus is always caring about our situation, caring about our challenge, but I think it brings us to a place in the text that is very instrumental to understand the glory of Jesus. His glory was revealed, Brett, for the first time. And so for the next 10 minutes of this sermon, I want to expose what a mother named Mary showed us about the glory of Jesus. Can y'all walk with me for a little bit longer? Y'all sound a little sleepy. Y'all walk with me for a little bit longer? I want to expose what happens. The first thing that Mary shows us about experiencing the glory of Jesus is it starts with expectation. Everybody say expectation. Say it a little bit louder. Wake up the person next to you. Say expectation. Say it one more time for your own self. Say expectation. Now, this is key. This is key. This is key. Many of us place expectation on the end of our prayer and not the beginning. So here's what happens. We teach you, we say, you know, God, I need you to do this, do that, blah, 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 and now I have an expectation that you're going to do it. But what happens is we invite the presence of God to the situation, but then the expectation is a tail end thing. So watch this. When I invite God into the presence of the situation, my expectation should already be set that it's solved. Expectation isn't what I tag on the end because I prayed. Expectation is what I start praying with. Some of us pray and fast, and then we expect at the end, well, I fasted 7 days, so now I expect. No, instead, I expect, so I fast. I expect, so I pray. I expect, so I worship. I expect, my expectation is the starting point of God's revelation. Many of us are trying to experience the glory of God, which in the Greek word literally means the goodness or to make good opinion of. The goodness or to make good opinion of, meaning that whenever God's glory shows up, we should be walking away experiencing some of his goodness. But our expectation is limited when his glory arrives. And what we have to start doing is saying, God, I need your glory. So my expectation is set that when you arrive, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but I know you can do something. I'm not going to tell you how to solve it. I'm just going to say, do what you do. God, I know if you did it before, you can do it again. So my expectation is before I start praying and before I start fasting and before I start singing, I already know it's done. The expectation of God's glory is the starting point of his revelation. You have to come to God with an expectation that he is capable, that he is qualified, that he cares enough about you that he won't let you drown in this situation. It is an expectation. And I think one of our greatest challenges is that for many of us, expectation does not originate in the mouth, but in the mind. Please write that down, post it, tag me, hallelujah. Expectation does not originate in the mouth. Everybody say the mouth. But then say, but the mind. I want you to practice this all week long. Don't just say what you expect. Think what you expect. Because some of us have done church so long that we know what to say. but we still don't know how to think. So we say, he's an on-time God. Oh, Lord. Yes. Oh, he's an on-time God. Oh. Yes, he is. But then you go and cry all night because he ain't fixed it yet. May not come when you want him. Be there right on time. He's in. What it? Yes, he is. But then you complaining to your friends talking about, I just don't know when he gonna show up. Because your expectation sounds good coming out of your mouth, but you have not wrapped your mind around the fact of an expectation. So you can say, I'm looking at my bank account and it ain't changed, but my expectation mentally is it's already done. I'm looking at the doctor's report and it still doesn't look right. So I'm not just going to say he's a healer. I'm going to start thinking I'm healed. And when you start thinking your expectation, you start walking in smiling, and people say, why are you smiling? Because I'm already healed. I looked at the doctor's, but I'm already healed. I looked at your bank account, but it's already done. I looked at the report, it's already fixed. I looked at, but it's already wonderful. I know because I'm thinking it's already done. And we have to move beyond this place of just speaking faith, but starting to think faith. What kills many of us in our discipleship is not what we say. It's how we think. So Romans 12:2 tells us what? Be not conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewing of your. Because the enemy don't care about what you say. He cares about how you think. He knows you can quote scriptures all day, but if you cry in your bedroom all night long, he has your mind. You can look cute in your couple all day long. Y'all worried, we argue the whole way here, and then we get out the car and be like, hi, how are you doing? This is my husband. Yes, oh my God. Be like, yo, this is my boo, And then we get back in the car and don't talk. Why? The enemy has your mind because you're already defeated. This ain't going to work. She not going to listen. Your mind has already lost the battle of marriage. So you keep saying stuff and looking cute and talking about God is amazing. Yeah, oh, that's wonderful. Lord, you're mighty. But when your mind is not married to your mouth, the enemy will let you say a whole bunch of stuff and still be stuck in misery. Your expectation of God's glory has to change. Your expectation has to start being not just a mouth thing, but a mental thing. And I need you to encourage somebody else this week. Say, girl, I don't need you to just say it with your mouth. I need you to say it with your mind. Yo, bro, I know you've been struggling with this for a while, but don't just say it with your mouth. Say it with your mind. Start thinking differently. Start praying differently. Start doing things differently, expecting God to move. Expectation. Look at your neighbor and say, have an expectation. How do we see this in the text? I love the fact that Mary approaches Jesus after doing no miracles, and she says, fix it. And even after he pushes back, her confidence is unwavering. You still can fix it. I'm not just saying it, I believe it. There is no doubt. And even if you don't do what I think you're going to do, I know you can do something. Because I'm not just saying it to you, I believe it. Here's the second thing, though. Here's the second thing we got to understand, is that whenever the glory of God appears, whenever the glory of Jesus appears, they operate in oneness. You have to understand that expectation leads to participation. Everybody say participation. Say this loud. Say participation. Say it one more time for the person asleep. Say participation. I love this part. I love this part. I love this part. I love all these parts, actually, for this sermon. I love all the parts. I'm going to say that for every part. I love the fact that many of us, we affirm God verbally. Oh, my God, this is so good. Tommy, I love this part. And then we just wait on God to do stuff. That's what we do. We're just looking at my financial situation, waiting. Looking at my marital situation, waiting. Looking at my struggle, waiting. And eventually, you would think it would click. The glory of God's goodness is not there just to appear, but to motivate you to participate in the process. I love it. Jesus doesn't lift a finger. The situation changes, Grandma, but Jesus ain't done nothing. Hey, y'all go grab that. Jesus is like me when we do outreach projects. Can we just talk about this for a moment? People have criticized me openly during our outreach projects for not doing enough work. I keep trying to tell people I do work, I organize. You understand what I'm saying? Hey, that right here. Put it right there. That's what I'm talking about. Hey, roll that. Bam, there it is. All right. When the project is done, I feel accomplished. I can't lift nothing. I fulfilled my role in the process. I feel like Jesus. I have church service. We do an Jesus. The next time we do, 5th Sunday in May, we got an outreach project. I want everybody to come. We don't have church service. We do an outreach project every 5th Sunday. When y'all show up, I don't want y'all to start judging me. I'm going to say, I did what Jesus did. Hey, let's get it done. Jesus doesn't do nothing but give some instructions. And some of you have been frustrated with the glory of God because you keep coming to church and lifting your hands. You keep coming to church and crying. You keep coming to church and worshiping, but you're not leaving and doing anything to participate in the process of your restoration. He said, I'm going to give you some instructions. All you got to do is leave and do. What has God been telling you to do to participate in the process of your victory, in the process of your restoration, in the process of your success? But you are waiting on him to fix it. And he said, no, you got to go lift something. You got to go move something. You got to cut something off. Uh-oh. I'm waiting for you to become a participant in the process. For many of us, the glory of God looks like spin class. We just talk about it for a moment. Anybody take one of these classes before? It's death. Okay, let's just explain something. God is not in that, okay? It is death. That's what it is. The devil is in it. He created it, and I bind it in the spirit of Jesus' name. Look at the girl right here. This is me. The girl with her head down, that is me. I gave up 5 minutes into the ride. Jesus is not here in this room. I only have to be where the presence of God is. Here it is. They're in spin class. I love spin class. Now you get don't get me. Like, you get some great cardio out of it. You get some great, some great burn, and you burn some calories. It's wonderful. You taking spin class, you keep taking spin class. But the problem with spin class is you still didn't see anything new. You feel good, but you're still in the same place. The glory of God, really, its intent is to look like the Tour de France, to take us on a journey to another place. Whenever you experience the glory of God, it should take you to some new scenery. Whenever you experience the glory of God, it should take you to some new exposures. Whenever you experience the glory of God, it should expose you to some new relationships. Whenever you experience the glory of God, it should challenge you to let go of something. Whenever you experience the glory of God, and I love the fact that the spin class was full, but there's only a few riders when you really see the glory. Because everybody can ride and stay still, but everybody can't take the journey when it starts getting uphill. And everybody can't take the journey when there's no convenience of quitting. And you have to get to a place where I don't just want the glory of God for visitation. I want the glory of God for activation. See, many of us want the glory of God just to visit us. But the purpose of his glory is not just to visit, but it is to activate something in you so that you leave different than you came in. And the struggle with the church is many people are seeing us come in and experience his glory, but we don't leave activated to do anything. Your attitude should change. Your spending habit should change. Your way you live should change. The way you talk should change. I can't say I'm experiencing God's glory, but nothing changes. I'm still the same person. I just did some cardio. I lifted my hands. I sat down. I shouted. I cried. It was an emotional experience, but it didn't do anything. Why? Because I only wanted the glory of God for the visitation, not the activation. Look at what Jesus does. It says his glory was revealed. What does he show us about his glory? He shows us that whenever his glory is present, he will challenge us to be participants in the process. So look at what he says. He says, hey, y'all go get that stuff over there. And I want you to fill it up to the brim. Now, this is important that you understand this. This is stupid based on biblical times. It's just dumb. Okay, you want us to take these pots, they got water in them, and go put more water in them. Jesus, did you hear what she said? She said they need wine. Take the water pots and go put water in them. Okay, Jesus, I heard you. I'm just making sure that I heard what you said. Okay, I'm going to take the pots. And they fill up the pots with water. And then he tells them to take some out and go give it to the master of ceremony, the master of the banquet. Now, this is essential because you have to understand these servants are not like just general. They're like employees. Let's just call them employees. They're servers for the party. They're about to lose their job. We out of wine. Here you go, sir. Here's some water. It makes absolutely no sense. Imagine the confidence. It's beyond confidence. The pure faith that you have to walk in to listen to instructions that are not logical and to listen to instructions that make no sense to anybody else and to listen to instructions that seem like they're going to make you look crazy. And I just need about 20 people in the room to understand that the reason you're not experiencing the activation of God is not because he's not giving you instructions. It's because you're waiting for them to make sense. But God said if you would just follow the instructions, even if it makes you look crazy, even if it leaves you in a room by yourself, even if you're isolated, even if they don't invite you out anymore, even if you make some sacrifices that seem crazy to your family and your friends, he said when the end process is done, I'm not just going to give you something, I'm going to give you something great. I'm going to give you the best quality. I'm going to do something that everybody is baffled by because you're walked in my glory. Being in the glory of God is not always logical, but it's always necessary. Say that one more time for the accountants. I love you, baby. It's not always logical, but it is necessary. Sometimes you have to walk beyond what makes sense and say, and I'm not saying forsake wisdom, and there's a multitude of counsel. There's wisdom in a multitude of counsel, but you have to sometimes be so willing to trust the voice of Jesus that you say, hey, I will do what it means even if it doesn't make sense. I'm going to participate in this process. Here's the last thing, though. We moving. I got to go. The last thing you got to understand, though, you got to understand is that not only do we have an expectation when we arrive, our expectation leads to our participation, but then we get to experience God's revelation. Everybody say revelation. Say it one more time. Say revelation. This is my favorite part, like the last two parts, so say it one more time for Jesus. Say revelation. Love this part, love this part. Love the last two parts, love this part too. Watch this. Watch this. Jesus still hasn't done any miracles yet. I mean, you got to put yourself in their shoes. Who is this dude we're listening to? He hasn't done any miracles yet. But because Mary came with an expectation, because a mother knew the potential of her son, because a mother pulled on his heart, because a mother needed a miracle for her family member, so she sat with him and she begged him, because a mother came with an expectation that was beyond what was normal, and they participated, the servants went through the process with him, now he's able to reveal his glory. He's able to reveal his power. He's able to reveal his potential. He's able to reveal his glory. Now, I need you to understand something about these pots, and I'm going to be done. These pots, these water pots, would have been, as it said in the passage, used for Jewish ceremonial cleaning. Anybody got a rule in your house that people can't wear your shoes on your carpet? Anybody got that rule? Like they got to take their shoes off at the door? Only a few of y'all? Good, because I'm buying that rule up in the name of Jesus. Me and Ashley tried it, though. We tried it at our house because we have like a creamish carpet, you know. So she was like, I want to keep it clean. And here was my thing. I didn't understand because I said shoes were meant to be on feet and carpet was meant to have feet on it. And so in my mind, but we both are serving their purpose by us putting shoes on top of the carpet. But we tried it for a little while. It didn't really work out for us. And if you do that, that's wonderful. I promise you, if I come to your house, I'll make sure I have socks. You know, it's always the worst when you show up to somebody's house and you didn't know, and then you got on the jacked up socks. Come on, be honest. You got on the cut grass socks. You didn't know. They didn't send that out in the email that you was going to have to take your shoes off when you got there. Don't let you not have no socks on. You be like, oh, no, I got to go home, dog. Y'all got a Dollar General up the street? Because I'm not walking in here with my bare feet, dog. Like, you don't know what my feet have been through. They've been through testimony. Some of y'all got testimony feet. Y'all know it's testimony feet. These feet have been some places. God has done some things with these feet. Amen. God is good. Got 5 minutes. So here's what happens, y'all. In the Jewish community, they would arrive to the house, and it was religiously appropriate to wash your feet off before you went into the house. You know, open-toed sandals, sand, you know, that kind of thing. You know, I talk about open-toed sandals a lot. That was like the dress of the day. So their feet would be dirty, so it was customary and religiously appropriate to wash your feet before you walked into the house. And you would grab the water from these pots that would be strategically positioned outside of the door. These very same pots are the pots that Jesus told them to go and get to put the water in. Can we just put this in context? Some of y'all are never going to look at this passage the same again. Y'all was messed up when the boy could get sued for not having enough wine. Y'all was like, the devil is a liar. Here, Jesus is telling them, grab the nastiest thing around the house. The thing that they wash their feet with. The filthy water. The dirty stuff. Take it to another dirty place, the lake or the pond, and fill it up with more water. And then go give it to the guests of this prestigious moment. Nothing about the beginning matches the end when the master of the banquet says, this is the best stuff we've ever had. How did it go from coming from a filthy place to being a qualitative place? How did it go from being dirty to being clean? How did it go from being filthy to being washed white as snow? How did it go from having all the issues but amazing grace? Here's the beauty of the glory of sound that saved a wretch like me. I once was lost, but now I'm fine. Here's the beauty of the glory of Jesus. When he shows up, you can't stay the same. When you go through the process, you can't live the same. That when you really experience the glory of Jesus, he takes what was filthy and washes it white as snow. He takes what was dirty and makes it clean. He takes all the bitterness and makes it better. He takes all the frustration and creates faith. He takes all the problems and creates prosperity. And if you could ever get to a place where you said, God, I trust you in the process. He said, I'll take what was dirty in your life. I'll take what was hurtful in your life and I'll make it clean again. And when people see you, they won't even recognize you because what was dirty now is clean. What was once fearful now is walking in faith. What was once so corrupted now is walking in integrity. What happened to it? I was exposed to the glory of Jesus. What happened to your attitude? I experienced the glory of Jesus. What happened to your struggle with that addiction? I was exposed to the glory of Jesus. What happened with your bad habits? I was exposed to the glory of Jesus. That when Jesus' glory shows up, it is not just for the purpose of you looking good for some pictures and tears and hands lifted, but it is for the purpose of activating something in you, that you will be different, that he's going to change the makeup of your mind, that he's going to change the makeup of your spirit, that he's going to change the makeup of your circumstance, because when the glory of Jesus appears, something has to change. And some of you, your struggle has been, I'm going to try church now, and I'm going to do this. What is supposed to happen? What now? What next? I came to let you know today that if you become a participant in the process, there's some stuff available for you. We're going to be talking about in the months to come, that we're going to have classes available and opportunities for you to sit down and talk to people one-on-one, and places for you to grow in your discipleship. Don't forsake participating in the process, because if you participate in the process, I don't care how dirty it was, struggle lasted. I don't care how deep that secret went. I don't care how long that struggle lasted. Jesus can transform it.